A couple summers back, I nearly killed a tomato plant by loving it too much. I'm not even joking. This is when I was still pretty new to all this, and I edit videos here, so I watched hours and hours of good advice, and I think that was actually half my problem. I knew too much, or I thought I did. See, I'd grown this one tomato plant all the way from seed, babied it the entire way. By the middle of summer, it was sitting in a big pot by the back door. It was getting tall and leafy, and I was out there every single day doing something to it. That was the whole issue right there. Every day, something. One day, I decided it needed more water, so I drench it. The next day, the leaves would look a little droopy in the afternoon heat, which is completely normal, by the way. They do that, and then they perk right back up in the cool evening. But I didn't know that, so I'd panic and water it again. Then I read that tomatoes are hungry plants, so I started feeding it. Then I read about pruning, so I started punching off shoots, especially when I wasn't totally sure which shoots, so I was really just pinching things, hoping for the best. And I spotted one yellow leaf and I assumed total disaster and started looking up sprays. At one point, I had 3 different pages open on my phone, all of them telling me something slightly different. I was standing out there trying to diagnose this poor plant like it was a car that wouldn't start. I was treating it like a patient in intensive care, and it was just getting worse. The leaves are curling. It looks stressed out. I stopped setting up any new fruit, and the more worried I got, the more I did to it, and the more I did to it, the worse it looked. I had myself I was in a spin over the tomato. I remember standing there one evening, watering can in hand, just about to give yet another drink, and something stopped me. I actually said out loud to a plant, "What do you even want from me?" And then it hit me. It didn't want anything from me. That was the whole point. It wanted me to leave it alone. That's what it said. So I made myself a deal. For 2 weeks, I wasn't allowed to do a single thing to that plant except water it when the soil was actually dry. And I mean actually dry, like finger pushed down into the soil up to the second knuckle, properly dry. No feeding, no pinching, no sprays, no fussing. I was allowed to look at it. I was not allowed to touch it. The first few days were genuinely hard. I'd walk past and my hands would just like itch to do something, anything. But I held the line. And you can probably guess what happened. It recovered. Not overnight, but within 2 weeks, the new growth came in healthy, the leaves uncurled, and by the end of that summer, the plant gave me more tomatoes than I could eat. The exact same plant. I nearly fussed to death. And here's the part that really stuck with me. I didn't fix it by doing the right thing. I fixed it by stop doing the wrong things. There's a difference there. I think that's a big one. What I've been doing mostly was overwatering it, drowning the roots so they couldn't get any air. And on top of that, I was stressing it out with constant changes. Every day, brand new variable. The plant never got a single chance to just settle in and grow. It's a little bit like if somebody kept walking up to you every hour to like try to say, like, what do you need right now? Or waking up overnight saying, are you sleeping well? And honestly, that was the problem. That one lesson changed everything in the garden. Now I learned that a huge part of gardening is knowing when not to act. The plants mostly know what they're doing. Plants have been at it for a great deal longer than we've been taking care of them. Your job is just to set them up well with decent soil in the right spot, water when they really need it, and then an awful lot of time. And most of the time, you just have to step back and let them get on with it. So now I've got a rule for myself. When I see something that worries me, I don't react right away. I wait. I look at it properly. I check to see whether it's actually a problem or just a plant doing some normal plant thing I haven't learned to recognize yet. Because half the things that look like emergencies just simply aren't. The droopy afternoon leaves, non-emergency. The one yellow leaf that's down low in the plant that's otherwise thriving, not a problem. It's completely fine. Another example, last year, one of my pepper plants dropped a couple of its flowers. Just let them fall right off, and old me would have been straight onto the phone, convinced something was badly wrong, probably reaching for some feed or a spray. The new me just left it, and sure enough, a week or two later, it was setting fruit like nothing had happened. Turns out plants drop a few early flowers all the time when the weather's swinging around. It's normal. Now, if I'd gone through like charging into a fix, the only thing I'd have managed to do is stress it all out again. I think a lot of us, especially when we're really keen, mistake activity for care. We feel like if we're not doing something, we're not really gardening. Sometimes the single most useful thing you can do for a plant is nothing at all. Sit on your hands. Go make a cup of coffee, let it grow. The tomato plant taught me that. And I think about it every single season. Funny, isn't it, that the hardest lesson I ever learned out there was simply how to leave things be.